Yo, what's up guys, welcome to my 1 to 99 woodcutting guide. Now I know woodcutting is a fairly simple skill and a lot of people know how to train it already, but this guide is mainly for those of you that don't actually know how to train it already, and also even if you do know how to train it, there may be some information in here that you find useful. So let's get straight into it. First of all, as always, I'm going to show you some useful items that you can use on your way to 99. The first one and the most obvious one is the different amount of hatchets that you can use at each level. At level 1 you can use the bronze hatchet, iron hatchet and the dwarven army axe. At level 6 you can use the steel hatchet and the black hatchet. At level 21 you can use the mithril hatchet. At level 31 you can use the adamant one. At 41 you can use rune. At 61 you can use the dragon hatchet and the inferno adze. And at 75 you can use the crystal hatchet. Once you hit level 22 in Invention, you can now augment your hatchets. So these are the different perks that you can have on them. The first one is Furnace, and this gives you a 5% chance per rank of consuming a resource for 100% XP. So instead of getting the logs from the tree that you're chopping down, this perk will consume the log and give you double XP for that log. So yeah, as you can tell, this perk is extremely useful, and you can actually get up to a 15% chance of it consuming something. So that is a relatively high chance of you getting double XP for something that you're going to be chopping down. The second perk is Honed, and this gives a 2% per rank higher chance of successfully chopping logs. You can have a maximum of a 10% higher chance for this perk. This one and Furnace are the ones that I recommend that you have on your hatchets, just because they're the most useful and will greatly improve your XP per hour. But anyway, the third one is Refined, and this gives you a 5% chance per rank of preventing a resource from depleting. You can have up to a maximum of a 15% chance here, and as you can tell, the perk itself isn't that great. The same goes for the last one, which is Wise, and this gives a 1% per rank additional XP. The maximum XP multiplier that you can have here is 3%, and if you have this perk will only give you 50,000 XP a day. So once you get that 50,000 XP, it will stop giving you that bonus XP. If you plan on woodcutting for a very long time, then I suggest you go for the Furnace perk. This is because if you train woodcutting a lot in one day, then you will eventually surpass getting 50,000 XP from that Furnace perk, and then that will in turn be better than Wise. However, if you don't plan on woodcutting for very long in a day, then I suggest you go for that Wise perk and get your 50,000 XP quite quickly. There is an outfit that you can wear in order to get bonus XP in woodcutting, and that is the Lumberjack clothing that you can gain from the temple trekking minigame. This outfit requires 44 woodcutting to be worn. There are 4 pieces in the set, and each piece gives a 1% XP bonus. However, if you have the whole set, it will give you a 5% XP bonus instead of the 4% XP bonus. There are also some auras that you can get in order to increase the chance of you chopping some wood. This aura is called the Lumberjack Aura. So at tier 1 the chance is increased by 3%, at tier 2 5, at tier 3 7, at tier 4 10%, and at tier 5 15%. I wouldn't recommend getting this aura unless you plan on training woodcutting for a very long time, or if you just have a super excess amount of loyalty points, but even then I really don't think it's worth it, but you know, you can do whatever you want to do. Next up we have Urns, and if you don't know what Urns are, basically they're just items that you can put in your inventory whilst you are woodcutting, and then as you chop the logs these urns will gain charges, and then once the urn is full of those charges you can send it away for some woodcutting XP. So yeah, it's just an item to get a little bit more woodcutting XP per hour. You don't really have to use them, but I don't see any reason not to. In order to make these urns you're going to have a crafting level. At level 4 you can use the cracked woodcutting urn, and this will gain charges from logs up to level 10. At level 15 crafting you can create a fragile woodcutting urn, and this will gain charges from logs up to level 35. At level 44 crafting you can use a normal woodcutting urn, and this will gain charges from logs up to level 58. And finally at level 61 crafting you can use a strong woodcutting urn, and this will gain charges from logs up to level 75. Going back to Invention, this can be created at level 60 Invention, and this is a woodcutting accumulator. Every time you fail to woodcut whilst you're woodcutting, this thing gains a charge, and once it's full you can study it for 2500 XP. So basically this thing just gives you free XP for those times that you fail to woodcut something. Perfect Juju woodcutting potions are something that everyone should use when they are training woodcutting, at least when they're going to be training it for a long amount of time. Every dose that you have from these potions lasts for 1 hour, and what it does is it gives you a 5% chance of receiving double XP from whatever you're woodcutting. So basically this thing just acts like another level 1 Furnace perk. So if you have the Furnace perk on top of having this as well, then you can have a 20% chance of receiving double XP from whatever you're woodcutting. This is the log splitting scrimshaw, and it requires 70 woodcutting to wield, and what this does is it gives you a 15% chance of splitting a log to gain more XP. This scrimshaw does not work on ivy or crystal trees, so just bear that in mind if you're going to be training on any of these. The extra XP that you're going to be getting when the log actually does get split is not that much. It's only around 25% more XP for each of the logs. So yeah, it's really up to you if you want to buy this or not. The Beaver Familiar is the only familiar in the game that boosts your woodcutting level. So this one boosts your woodcutting level by 2 levels. And you need to have 33 summoning in order to summon it. So if you do have 33 summoning, just make sure this little guy is summoned, and then that will boost your XP per hour by just a little bit. Instead of using hatchets to cut down trees, you can instead use these skill chompers. These give you 10% extra XP whenever you use them, and there are 4 different kinds of skill chompers to choose from. So at level 31 woodcutting, you can use the Cobalt skill chomper, and this is equivalent to a mithril hatchet. At level 41 you can use the Viridian one, and this is equivalent to an adamant hatchet. At level 51 you can use the Azure skill chomper, and this is equivalent to a rune hatchet. And at level 61 you can use the Crimson skill chomper, which is the best one, and this is equivalent to a dragon hatchet. Now please bear in mind that using skill chompers is extremely expensive, especially if you plan on using the Crimson skill chompers, because you can use around 1,400 of these in an hour, and that equates to 2 mil. So if you plan on using these, it will cost you 2 mil an hour in order to cut down some trees. And lastly, we have Seren spells and prayers. These will come in useful at the later stages of your leveling process. So in order to use them, you have to have completed the Light Within quest, and then at level 88 magic, you will be able to use Crystallize, and this increases the woodcutting XP that you gain from a tree by 50%. And then on top of that, if you have 80 prayer, you can use the Light Form prayer, and this enhances the effect of Crystallize by 37.5%. So in total, you'll be getting 87.5% more XP from a tree. And on top of that, whilst Crystallize is active, the tree will not deplete. So if you have Crystallize constantly on a tree, the tree will never die and you can just carry on chopping at it. So yeah, these 2 spells, I mean, if you have Crystallize at least, just makes woodcutting that more AFK. Okay, we're finally done with the useful items. Time to move on to the actual leveling. So from 1 to 15, you will be training on regular trees. You will get 25 XP every time you chop a log down, and you should be getting around 13k to 15k XP per hour. However, that really doesn't matter since you'll be getting 1 to 15 in a matter of around 15 minutes. And you can chop these regular trees all around RuneScape. I mean, they're literally everywhere, so you should have no problem finding a bunch of trees in order to chop down. From 15 to 30, you should be training on oak trees. You will get 37.5 XP every time you chop one down, and you should get around 18k to 20k XP per hour. However, once again, that really doesn't matter since you should get 15 to 30 in around half an hour. And just like normal trees, these oak trees are located all around RuneScape. If you really wanted a location in order to chop down both of these trees, I'd recommend outside of the Grand Exchange. There are a bunch of normal trees and oak trees around there. From 30 to 35, you can train on willow trees. Each time you chop one of these down, you will gain 67.5 XP, and you should get around 25k to 28k XP an hour. I recommend chopping these down in Draenor Village. They are located just behind the bank, as you can see on screen now. There's just a good amount of trees here, and you can also bank the logs if you really wanted to, since there's a bank right next to them. Alright, so once you hit 35 woodcutting, you have a choice. You can go one of 2 ways. You can either carry on training on willow trees up to level 68, and you can earn up to 45,000 XP per hour doing this. And then once you hit 68, you can start doing ivy up to level 94 or 99. I'm going to show you what alternatives you have at level 94 very soon. But anyway, with ivy, every time you cut an ivy, you will get 332.5 XP, and you will get around 65k to 91k XP an hour. And there are 2 locations that I recommend for you to cut ivy. One is in Varrock, and it's located just here, right next to the little farming patch right there. And the other one is in Prif. If you have access to Prif, then go to Prif, because then you'll get the special buff if the thing is active in the district, so you'll be getting more woodcutting XP. But anyway, yeah, the ivy location is located right here. So yeah, that path is one way that you can go. The second way is at level 35, you can start training on Teak Trees all the way up to level 94. Every time you chop a log, you will gain 85 XP, and you should expect to get around 30k to 90k XP an hour, obviously depending on what your level is. You can chop these down near Tybro One Eye. In order to gain access to the little area that they're located in, you're going to have to bring along 100 trading sticks with you. You can just buy them off the GE, 100 trading sticks is like 2k or something. So yeah, don't forget that when you're coming to train here. And then yeah, just pretty much just chop the logs down. Then make sure you drag one of the logs onto your action bar so you can then mass drop them. And also don't forget that you can drop logs whilst you are woodcutting. Okay, so once you hit level 94, If you have Crystallize, you should carry on doing Teak Trees, but this time you should be using Crystallize on these Teak Trees. You will be getting 159.5 XP per log, and you should expect to get around 160k to 180k XP an hour. So as you can tell, that is a huge jump in XP just because of Crystallize, and obviously the Lightform Prayer if you're going to be using that as well. On the screen now is just a short clip of how to actually use Crystallize in case you have not done it before. Basically just make sure that you're on the Zaros spellbook, click on Crystallize and use it on one of the trees, activate your Lightform Prayer and then just begin woodcutting it. As you should be able to tell, I am not getting any logs and the tree is not depleting. So this is what I meant earlier when I said Crystallize just makes woodcutting a lot more AFK. However, Crystallize will run out after 30 seconds, so you will have to use it again on the tree. And then that's pretty much all you have to do, just keep replenishing that Crystallize spell. You can tell when it's run out when the magical dust around the tree disappears. And also a message will appear in the little message box. And also, if you're going to be using the Lightform Prayer, make sure to bring some prayer potions along with you, because your prayer will be depleting because obviously you're using that prayer. If you do not have Crystallize, don't worry, there is a good alternative for you, and that is to chop down crystal trees. Every time you cut, you will get 434.5 XP, and in total you should expect to get around 90k to 110k XP an hour. Now the thing with the crystal tree is that there are 8 of them, but only one of them is active at a time. So you are going to have to go around and find the crystal tree that is active. The crystal tree that is active only changes once every 2 hours, so it's not that bad. But anyway, here are the locations of all of the crystal trees. I know you can't exactly see where the one in Prith is, but if you want to know, it's right next to the Grand Exchange. So just do a little scan around and you should be able to find it pretty easily. Now I know you might be thinking that it's going to be a pain in the ass to try and find out which is the active tree, and yeah, I guess it kind of is, but in the description I've found a tool that will help you find the trees a lot quicker. Basically all you have to do is go to one of the trees, and then click on it and see what it says. If it doesn't say anything, then it's the active tree, so congratulations, you found the active tree on the first try. But if it does say something, it will say something like it's pulling you north, or it's pulling you northeast, or something like that. All you have to do is select the tree that you're looking at from the drop down menu, and then just remember what direction the tree told you, find it in the little table that got generated, and then it should narrow down the location of the crystal tree for you. So yeah, that's pretty much it, that's the end of the guide. If you enjoyed or if this guide helped you, please leave a like, and as always, thank you for watching, subscribe if you're new, and peace!